Thanks for being here today. I have my air conditioner on, so I hope the noise is not too distracting. It's the dash of my truck is 99 degrees out, and that's exceptionally hot. I'm at the lake, and I can switch the view, but the holder of the phone is in the way. See, I'm at the lake there today, but lake in it's considered Appalachia, Ohio, because it's down in the country, but everybody's happy at the lake, everybody's calm. I want to talk to you about this channel. I want to talk to you about the concepts and ideas. I had through lots of different years had different experiences. Now, I have not spent as much time in the woods as some people I know, and that amazes me that people say, well, I never seen or heard anything. I don't know what you're talking about. I never had any experiences. I guess some people were more observant. So thinking on that lines, that concept, if a child hears a noise in the middle of the night, Mom, Dad, I'm scared, I heard a noise. If you or I, an adult hears a noise, it's just some noise. Go back to sleep, who cares? As long as they don't come in the house, as long as they don't, break into the car, I'm not going outside. A child, I heard something, turn on all the lights, the crying, So what am I saying? Children their thought process is more real. There's a noise. Something caused a noise. Something made that noise. So if you, as an adult, hunt or you fish, or you go into the wilderness, if you change your concepts and you say, something made a noise. Now, I'm not saying spend all day trying to find out what it was and track it down and go look for it and get evidence, and I'm not saying that. But at least you can say, well, I heard something. Every time I start to walk, I hear footsteps, or I hear things break. Every time I shoot my gun, I hear something thrashing and breaking, brush breaking, or whatever. The reality finally starts to sink in. Something's going on. My grandfather had grown up in Appalachia, Ohio, and you can see in the description, if you go down into the description, I have his bottle, by the way, that I told in one of the videos that he used to carry in his vest pocket of his old coat, and he put a rag over it and put it in the little creek areas, the water, when it's flowing, and filter the water and drink it. And he had a little cork he'd put in. The cork rotted and it went into crumbs, so I threw it away. But it's a spiderweb bottle, by the way. I'll make a video and show that. But I respected all that stuff. None of my relatives today respect their upbringing. They don't care about their ancestry, and that's something that's been lost. But my granddad always said, hey, there's panthers out here. He said there's supposed to be some mountain lions in West Virginia. Now, I'm in Ohio, southern Ohio, so that was his concept. He was born in 1904, so let's talk about that. There's some panthers out here. You got to be careful. I don't know if they'll hurt you or not, but they got to eat something. That was his concept. But I think we got some mountain lions, he said, but mostly they're in West Virginia. So to him, a panther and a mountain lion is completely different. That's how they looked at it. My mother said, yeah, he's telling the truth, because I heard him screaming. They sound like a woman, she said. I heard him screaming. She said, I guess they're breeding or something. She said, about 30 of them come up over the ridge one time. She said, I was just a girl. Now, my mother would be about 85 right now. She's passed away. So, born 85 years ago, so 70 years ago. She said that about 30 of them came up over the ridge together, and that's a lot. She said, there had to be 30. She said, but I never seen after that, never seen anything like that. Now, she said they scream like a woman. My granddad said, they scream. You hear somebody screaming, it's a panther. It's okay. So let's talk about that. You know, I'm talking about my upbringing. And I didn't live in the country 24/7. I lived in the city and went to the country every Friday night and went back every Sunday night with my grandmother. And I went to school in the city primarily growing up. But I loved the country. You know, I always started shooting a gun at age 7. You know, he had an Iber Johnson 12 gauge and a Harrington Richardson 12 gauge. And I was 7, so that was 1967, 1966. And they had a paper, cardboard, black powder. I think they're black powder shells. Anyways, metal cardboard, but heavy duty cardboard. It really kicked hard. But so after that, I had 10-22 rifles, and I was used to deer and copperheads and, you know, all that stuff. A lot of us thinned out. The deer population is nothing compared to when I was a child, you could see 200 head of deer. That's the truth. Now, you're lucky to see 5 or 10, 15 together. But, you're in a field, there are usually 3 or 4. It's getting thinner. They say there's too many deer, and I don't know how they come up with that one. But, he said, be careful, you know. If you hear something, check it out. Get your eyes on it. You know, if you got a dog with you, the dog won't go, don't go. If the dog's scared, he said, you better be scared. If the dog starts to panic, he said that he had a dog that run around in circles and whine. He said, there's something wrong. He said, it's a black bear or something. You know, something that's scaring that dog. Now, you know, there wasn't internet or anything then. And, I don't know. On the internet, I see a lot of dogs that aren't even scared of bears, you know. But the old Appalachian continent, if your dog's scared, it's a bear, you know. Well, you know, I got the video about it. Something ripped my dog wide open. The dog wasn't afraid of it, you know, and it wasn't growling like a bear. It retrieved a groundhog that I shot in a place that a bear couldn't get it. You know, black panther, I seen one, and I seen another one. I seen a small one. I seen one about 30 or 40 pounds, and you say small, that's pretty small. I seen one that probably had to weigh 200, 250 pounds. I know that sounds like an insane exaggeration. I'm going to say its body was 5 or 6 feet long. I know that sounds ridiculous. And its tail was at least 6 feet long. It had the longest tail. I mean, this tail was huge. I never seen an animal. I went to the zoo. I started to say I go to the zoo, but I don't. I don't go anymore. But when my children were growing up, I used to take them to the zoo every 2 or 3 years. It didn't have a mountain lion tail. It had this big, long tail, man. Went down and then kind of curved up like that, straight behind it. I don't know if that means anything. You know, I see panthers on TV and stuff. It really didn't look like those. It had a longer snout, but it didn't have a dog snout, but a big snout, like a cat, you know, like a panther, but it's longer. Kind of like I hate to say it, almost like a big, huge badger, but a long, skinny badger, kind of a different head. I don't know, but it's a cat head. I don't know if there's some kind of inbreed or crossbreed or something, but maybe it's crossbreed of some kind of actual lion or something. I don't know what they are. Maybe somebody created that back in the day. But about 1974, there was a guy off of Hamburg Road in Lancaster, Ohio. He called me. I wasn't very far away, and he said, there's a woman getting murdered. I said, what? He said, yeah, I got my 30-30, man. Come up here, quick. He said, let's go down there. So we went, and this thing was screaming, but the problem was, it was a woman screaming. It sounded like a woman screaming bloody murder. Just screaming, screaming, screaming. But every time we get to where the noise was, where she'd be screaming, it'd scream somewhere else. This thing seemed to know that we were following it. And it's in the woods, and there was a couple fields. We walked, man, like 3 miles that day. And this thing had run up about, 1,000 feet, scream again. And finally I said, man, he said, they're dragging her. They're doing something, man. And there was marks in the ground that looked like something being drugged. Now, I know that sounds ridiculous, but there was every once in a while, 2 points, like just points. I don't know how to describe that, but they looked like half of a deer hoof. And just, it was in the mud, and it'd been raining for a few days. But that thing had screamed, we'd see those tracks. And I said, what kind of tracks are that? I don't know. We have no idea. It's a dog or something. I said, man, it's that big, They were the size of a butter dish. I mean, it's this big. I'm telling you the truth. So, but there's 2 points. So finally we settled down and said, look, man, this is something carrying a baby deer. It's got a baby deer in its mouth. Why is this thing screaming? And then it can't be a woman. And it was partially dragging something. It would pick it up too and carry it. And when it would carry it, you could see the tracks in the mud and then the 2 points. I'm about 14 or 15. I'm trying to figure this thing out. And he's about a year younger. He got a 30-30. We're like, man, we can kill it, man, whatever, And it's a person will make them leave the woman alone. But it wasn't a woman. Then it clicked. My mother said, these panthers come up over the hill screaming, sounding like a woman. And my granddad said, when you hear a woman screaming, something like that, don't go down there. That's not a woman. He said, in these backwoods, he said, it's not a woman. He said, they scream and the deer run. He said when they scream, the deer run, and they grab the deer. Now, I'd seen some holes that looked like they'd been worked, and that sounds weird, like cleaned out or something. And I don't know how to explain that, but just about that big around, and I would hear a muffled scream sometimes in the back field that I would be walking in. And it seemed to me, because the deer would run when they hear that. Maybe this thing was sticking its head in a hole. They'd stick their head in a hole and muffle that scream and scare the deer, but the deer didn't know where they were exactly. Just different things like that came to me, You ever feel like you're being watched? Man, I thought, somebody's looking at me. Somebody's here. One of those. Because you are. Hair stands up in the back of your neck. Yeah. Because somebody's watching you. Something's watching you. You ever have a dog that just looks crazy and he's low growl, drops his head, maybe lays his ears down, looking into the woods? You can't see nothing. Well, there's something there. The dogs are like the kids. I smell something. I hear something. Maybe I see something. There's something there. I'm not going to fake myself out and lie to myself and go, there's nothing there, man. I heard noise and there's no. So I had to retrain my thinking through the years, and it's just about 6 months ago or something, about the beginning of 2024. All this just slapped me, or middle of 2023, just slapped me down. What in the heck's going on anyways, This thing, like this UFO thing, I got a video about it. I was afraid to tell people, well, you lost your mind, buddy. You must be mistaken. You're dumber than shit, That stuff's not real, But this channel's real. Watch the videos, something threw a tree limb at us. And I think it was 2005. And this tree limb, probably about that big around at the base, something like that. I don't know, but it had been torn off, twisted off. It was I got a 4-door 2500 Dodge Ram, and it was as long as my truck. It was still green. It had the limbs on it and leaves and everything. Man can't throw that up through the top of the trees and come down like that thing did. It almost hit us. It landed basically between us, like a foot behind us. The butt of it was about a foot behind us and between us. And I was firing a AK-47. That's real. It shot. It was shooting, and I shot it, and that limb came, hit while I was shooting that gun. So don't tell me something that can throw a tree limb like that is afraid of a gun, because they're not. They're not afraid of a gun. They're not afraid of sound. What is it that you're not going to scare away? Here, bear, here, bear, here, bear, and the bears run away. A black bear will run away. You go, black bear's gone, you know. Most of the time, I mean, you know, you got bears that, I mean, you know, if you're carrying a chicken or something, some food or something, smell like food, maybe not, but a black bear's gone, man. Black bear's gonna, feet to the ground, man, I'm out of here. Big ugly person want to say some crazy shit to me. You know, we don't have any grizzlies in Ohio that I know of, and what's going to come to a gunshot and break off a big tree limb and throw it? I got videos there. This channel's real, and I ask you to take it for what it is. You know, I thought last year somebody needs to tell the truth. Got so much garbage on YouTube about Bigfoot and all this shit. You know, I seen something in Black River State Park in Florida, and it didn't look like no ape. It's 12 or 14 foot tall. It didn't look like no ape. It was smart enough to try to pretend like it was a tree. The video's there. I was dragged back to my ex-wife's house in the Philippines because gigante, which means giant. They said gigante eats people. You can't go to that part of the mountain. I got a video there about it. Watch the videos. I appreciate you being here. Don't forget to subscribe. May God bless you. Be careful, for real. I'm really afraid to go out there. When I was a kid, man, I'd go out there in the woods and walk around, you know, get lost, be going, not even get back until after dark. My granddad, well, I figured you'd find your way out eventually. Find the creek, go with the flow of the creek, you'll cross the road. He'd teach me. When you cross that road, you can either go right or you can go left. He said, go where it's not gravel anymore. And it'll eventually come to another road, a highway, and that'll eventually take you home. If you see a bridge from the woods, go to the bridge because it's a road. Okay? You know, I mean, that sounds ridiculous, but it works if you get lost. I appreciate you. I'll see you later. Check out the videos, for real.